Today, we are going to be working on the story of Pentecost, which comes from Acts 2. And this will be the only time in the whole church year where we land on the red square, as according to the church calendar. So it's a very fun Sunday. The story that I am going to be using, the story pieces, come from the Young Children in Worship book, but we are also going to be incorporating the wooden blocks that come from the Godly Play story and also from the story written by our UPC story review team. So we're going to have a little bit of a combination here, and if you would like to reference your materials at home, you can print out the review team story that you should have, which has and includes the whole piece that will use the wooden blocks. And then you can use this story. It's slightly long for early childhood, so I will be telling the story that can be easily translated into an early childhood classroom, which uses the first piece of this story and then transfers over to the Young Children in Worship story that comes from this book. And you should also be able to pick up a copy of this in our supply room, or you may even have it in your inbox. So those are the pieces that I'm going to be using, and hopefully once you see the story, it'll all make sense. This is the story of Pentecost. Once there was a great tower. Everybody working on the tower spoke the same language, and they were able to work together easily. But as the tower grew taller and taller, the people started to believe that it would reach heaven. Perhaps they thought that they could see God there. As they built the tower, it became more and more something that they were very, very proud of. They forgot who made them. And they even started to forget that the greatest builder was God. God saw what they were doing. He saw what was in their hearts, and he knew that they had forgotten him. So he came down and he confused their language. And instead of speaking the same language, they now spoke many different languages. And the tower fell. The work on the tower stopped. And the languages of the peoples of the earth were shattered, and they were broken into splinters. Each one was beautiful, but each one was very different. The people moved away from that place, and they left behind the Tower of Babel, because it seemed like everybody was babbling when God confused their language. Many, many years passed. Jesus came to earth, and he died on the cross. But somehow he was still with the people around him, as he is with us. They kept seeing him and they couldn't let him go. And then one day, 50 days after Easter, something amazing happened. The people of God were in Jerusalem to celebrate the great feast called Pentecost. They came from every country, from far away. And Jesus' friends came too. They were still waiting in Jerusalem for the promise that Jesus had given them. That God would send the Holy Spirit. Suddenly, a sound like a rushing wind filled the air. And what looked like flames of fire came to rest on all of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit. They were so excited that they began to share all of the amazing things that God did. They told about Jesus and how God had raised him from the dead. The people from all of the different countries could understand them. Each person heard the story in their own language. "What should we do?" they asked. And Peter said, "Change your ways and be baptized. You will be washed clean and new, and you will receive the power of the Holy Spirit. God's promise is for you and for your children. For everyone who God calls." Now, I wonder what it felt like to receive the gift of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost. I wonder how Jesus' friends felt as they shared the amazing stories of what Jesus did. I wonder how the people felt where they were baptized and where they received the Holy Spirit. I wonder how they knew that this was the Holy Spirit. I wonder what all of these people will do now that they have the gift of the Holy Spirit. I wonder what it was like on the day that you were baptized and you received the Holy Spirit. I wonder what the Holy Spirit wants us to do with God's gifts. The disciples of Jesus and the people who came to Jerusalem for the Feast of Pentecost. The table of the disciples and the color of Pentecost.